Okay, guys, we are live. Appreciate you guys joining if you're on TikTok, YouTube, or if you're just watching in the community. We're just going to talk a little bit about how, if you guys are new to the channel, we talk about the SPY, the SPX. I touch on the tech stocks, and then we'll cover Bitcoin, ETH, Dixie, stuff like that. Most of the heavy impacting stuff. So, I wanted to kind of talk about the SPY. I always like to kind of cover what we did or seen yesterday. So those of you who had watched my channel yesterday, you guys know that when we were starting the market, we were way high up in here. Based on what we looked at, from previous highs, I was not playing any kind of calls. Everything was going to be a put. So we actually took a put right off the bat and took this one. This was the one trade I did for the day. I typically wait for the retest up here, right? But there's just no way this was going to hold. So we took a lot of 0-day contracts, made a ton of money on this fall here. I had to leave, but I know CK and them did an awesome job writing both of these down. And then we just, we had some people that were stuck from the day before, that had talked to me about concerns, for us reaching this level. I wasn't concerned whatsoever. So, and we did, so I'm sure they got out in just really good profits. So you can see our indicator also did call a long yesterday. You can see that the entry was here about 420. We did end up reaching about 421 or so, just below TP1, but it still did a great call. For the way that we trade, scalping, guys, just that, like 70-cent movement. I mean, that sometimes can be, $400 or $500 trade. So, still played out very well. So, that was kind of our plays yesterday. Let's talk about where we're at today. I want to flip to the 1 hour, guys. This is going to be pretty pertinent because if you notice, if you go back here to the 1 hour, I'm gonna take away this little small line here. We did have like I talked about, there was this this line up here, right? Also, that we were looking at. So it's small little two touch here. It did hit it. It did reject down, right? Now, what I'm kind of interested in today is you can see that we do have a pre-market down. So those of you guys who trade with me, you guys know that when the pre-market is down, unless some news comes out to push it further, we tend to open the market in an upward fashion. So what I would be interested to see is if, on the slightly higher time frames, we're kind of creating that M formation at the top. You can kind of see where we did something similar here, right? We came down, we ended up coming over like this, and then that's where the big fall came, right? So kind of what I'm watching. The 1 hour divergence hunter, if you look at this, we are still green. We are a little bit overbought, but we're not really in the red. So some room to go up if we can't break some certain levels. If you notice right where the pre-market's holding at 418.40 is also on the 1 hour 200 EMA, which is about right there. So that's this orange line here, right? So, just don't be fooled. My plan today, guys, just like yours should be, it's not a day to trade the open, because if we break this level right on the open like this, then it should continue to fall further. I mean, we could get as low as 414 today. So, however, if the market opens, people believe this is on sale, you're going to see maybe an initial pullback, like a wick, and then you're going to see a push north. I would anticipate that push north, is going to struggle, probably something localized like this, right? You can see we already got the two peaks here. So we might get a little bit of a push. If you're wanting to take a put, it's not really wise to take it right at entry. I would wait till you come up and retest this area here again, somewhere in the high 419, 420. Before you take that put scalp, and then you could ride that back down. My anticipation is, we'll probably eventually flip this 200 EMA, and we'll pull all the way down for a retest somewhere around 414 before we continue up. So just keep an eye on that, guys. And then yeah, that's kind of where I see the SPY going, guys. So that's going to be our play. I'm still staying put. Somebody's asked me in the room, I've had this asked actually a few times, why I take a lot more puts and I don't really take a lot of the calls. The funny part is we actually call a lot of the calls, but I tend to, because of the way we scalp, have more success trading in the direction of where the largest risk of gap fill is, right? Which is going to be in that area. Let me go to the gap fill indicator here so you can see it a little bit better. So you can see not only from the low, right, which is 400, we have a huge gap, but even on the lower frame, right, just like we did here, just like we did here, we still have to come back and retest these things, right? So staying put in these areas doesn't mean I'm entering a put right away. It just means that I'm not taking the call, because the profit of what this can make, or even this, is not worth it for the risk of me fighting that all the way to here, or God forbid we get some crazy news and we break this level and have to fight it all the way down, or just get nailed with my stop loss, right? So that's kind of why I tend to stay put on this. Just stay safe. Play your own range, play your own roles. Some people are in our room are taking calls, even though I don't. Like, I'll call the call out for people, and they'll take it, and they're doing really well. But I'm not taking the calls. I don't need to make money all the time, both up and down. I'm gonna wait for those surefire ones and minimize my risk. So on the 1 hour though, we do have a nasty gap fill here that this is calling. This is probably gonna fall in line with that double top I'm gonna foresee. We're already kind of there. So, if you think about it on the pre-market, it's likely that this could have already played out, right, in the aftermarket, because we did get a little bit of a push and we could have already kind of broke it. And that could cause us not to come up and retest, right? Because remember, this one's more following the pre-market. It's not plotting those candles. So we could see, pretty decent push south to maybe 415, fill this gap, hit this white line, and then push up like that. So if you look at the 1 hour and you kind of zoom out like this is the channel I've been following. We're just in this like rising channel. You can see that the lower line actually is this is kind of like an early line here. Now that we have two peaks down in this lower one, we can probably take this one out. Probably could shift this down more like here, right, to follow that, and that would be a more accurate read of where we would probably bounce. Now, because we're in this rising channel, if we do break this lower level, right, then that's almost certain we're coming down all the way. But again, we're high in the range. We still could have that one more push up like we talked about before that happens. So as far as the bullish nature, when would I take a call? I'd like to see it flip this teal line and hold as support for a little bit, right? Because then we have a nice little push that we can do all the way to the upside. I will tell you, anything around 428, especially 434, I will probably throw like 100 contracts on this thing, and you're just gonna make so much money. So that's kind of where I'm at with the SPY. Spent a lot of time on it, so I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on the SPX. Similar kind of idea. You can see on the 2 minute, a little more clear because it's playing out the patterns, right? So you had your head and shoulder broke down here. Now it's retesting support. If the support collapses, right, then that's where the fall is going to happen. But this is where I was telling you guys on the SPY, be careful, because we easily could hold support here. We are kind of oversold, right? And we could see that push more north there. So yeah. So on the SPX, like I said, this red line right here was pretty good resistance. It did act as support here. If we can't claim this red line here, and it breaks that support level, that's where I would see that fall coming. Let's look at the 15 maybe first. Yeah, so you can see this gap, right? If you take this push up, a gap fill would be considered somewhere around 416. So that's kind of where I would see maybe it fall down, would be the 41.65 actually, before it could potentially pump back up. But obviously that is all very dependent on it breaking this support level here that was high, which is around 41.80. So just keep an eye, play your range, guys. If you guys aren't sure, you want to hang out, you can come into the room and trade with us. So Let's talk about the Dixie. I'm just going to go to the 1 hour. You can see, remember we've been calling this line forever, that we were just going to, work our way up there. We're there. So didn't quite, bounce right off of it. You can see it's struggling on this kind of smaller trend line right here to break it, right? So, I would probably follow this trend line and this 200 EMA on the 1 hour. We haven't even retested this, guys. That's how strong this is actually looking, which is interesting because typically if you're going to see some form of weakness, right, you're going to see a pump, you're going to see a retest, you're going to see a pump higher, then a retest. Then you start to see smaller ones, right? Smaller pushes up like this. And that's telling you that it's closing in on that 200 and eventually it'll break, right? The interesting thing is since 101.5, we haven't even touched it. We haven't even reached it, the 200. So that's pretty wild. And our zone tracker is actually, our zone tracker is actually calling for early support now right here, right? Which is pretty cool. But we are also having some resistance. So it's getting that squeeze. Y'all know I've been calling this for some time. If we cannot break this red line, it's gonna squeeze into this 200. If it collapses it, we're gonna see a big push north in the markets. Because think about it, guys. The interesting thing that is not lining up is that the markets are booming and the Dixie is booming. That doesn't usually coincide. So one of them is gonna break, and what that's gonna do is either A, this Dixie is going to break this red line and the markets are going to go bananas and we're going to just see a nasty fall because they're anticipating the dollar is going to climb like crazy, right? Or we're going to see a pretty hard rejection here off this trend line because it cannot break it into the squeeze. Once it breaks this and drops, even as high as we are in the stocks, right, that's going to be enough to build confidence to push the markets past. So really watch this area, guys. I've been talking about it for a few days now. So everything else has played out pretty well. You can see here this began our descent, right? So right off of this line, so we're right there. So this is a moment of truth here for the Dixie. Let's talk real quick about the VIX. I only got about 3 minutes left and we haven't even done crypto. See, we're just riding this line. We drew this line, I think, yesterday or the day before. Still riding this line here, right? It's at the bottom, which means that we need to have another push up into here, which is this test. The VIX goes up, market goes down, so keep an eye on that. Tech stocks, I don't really have time, so I'm not going to touch too much on them. Apple pre-market is down. We did reject off of this line up here that we had, so that's playing out as anticipated. Not really much movement on Microsoft, not much movement on Google. I never fixed this one, so we're not going to I'll fix this one later. So I'm not going to touch on this one. Let me just get the zone tracker off of there. So we'll get that fixed on the Amazon one, so you guys can watch that one. But Bitcoin, I'm going to talk a little bit about. You can see our harmonic one on the 1 hour did well, caught the short from the double top. I'm going to touch more on the gap fill one, but I just wanted to really quickly show you guys Bitcoin as low as we've gotten. Yes, we do have room to fall. The 1 hour though, we are a little bit oversold. There's still some room to go on the 1 hour, but it's definitely getting a little bit oversold, so just be careful. On the flip side, the Bollinger Bands did flip red here. So, we do have that red kind of flip here that has came. So if these continue to go sideways and stay red, then there's likely more downside on that. So, but I want to touch a little more on the gap fill one since we had called this one yesterday. So if you remember from yesterday, we talked about this line is going to be pretty significant. If you guys didn't draw it, it is from there, right? So, I didn't believe that it was going to be able to break it. We did get our kind of M formation, right? And then that broke support, and that's where the volume came. The secondary volume, this is really important, guys. On the 1 hour, we did break the 200 EMA. It's been since 26.7 or so since we broke it and had that push north. This is some pretty significant sign of weakness here. We do have a small gap fill here, so that could be coming up for the retest around 27,240 before it breaks down. So, but look how accurate this gap fill was on the side over here. We talked about we had to fill this one. This one was pretty much filled, but we did have to come back for this one as well. This one's already filled, and I think this one's pretty much filled. So we came down almost to it. I think we wicked down to about 26.9, really close. So could be considered filled, but some slight downside left. As long as we're below this 200 EMA, guys, I would be really careful taking your longs. You're going to want to take your longs once we flip this back. So our gap fill is purple on the top, which is showing downtrend and weakness. So yeah, just keep a close eye on that, guys. We do have some definite room to go as far as downside. It's going to be very dependent on the stocks, guys, because as you guys know, I've been calling this one here for a while, 25 to 79 or so. I still think we're going to hit it. Whether that's this week or not, that's just going to really depend on that Dixie if it breaks. So if the Dixie breaks north, VIX pumps up, then we're coming for that. So. But just stay safe on that. I'm not going to touch on ETH. ETH is pretty much just going to follow Bitcoin, and I do need to get into our ATAs. For those following the channel, you guys know yesterday or the day before actually, I went a little top heavy on the ATAs. Based on the movement of the market, I'm pretty sure that they're doing pretty well. But let's take a look at them. If you're new to it and you're watching on TikTok, this is the automated trading portion that we offer. So this is my alerts that I have, that I use that as my to-do list. So let's check out Aave first. Let me save that. So we're just going to come down here, we're going to load, and we're going to go to Aave. Aave looks like we had a nice little nasty fall. So it did look like it got stuck in a long. It did make some longs here. Obviously with this fall, it did get stuck. The beauty is we're only DCAing one. Let's take a look at Aave long, and let's see if we want to add a DCA 2 quite yet. I'm comfortable with adding a DCA 2 because we're really low in the range, guys, on Aave. We can come as low as 51. I would say if we added a DCA 2, I would want to do it somewhere around 61. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna move this line just to where I want. So let's try to get it somewhere in here. I would say if you're following along, I'd say somewhere on that yellow line right there. So how do we add the DCA? Because we just started Aave, so we're gonna give it a little bit of help here. So we're gonna come in here. You just simply go to your gear, slide this over so you can see. We're gonna add this second DCA. I don't know that I want it at 11. Let's try like 8. Let's see. So this is a percentage movement from your entry. You'll know where it places it because it's gonna place an entry. Look at that. Actually, I'm pretty sure it just literally placed it right on my line. Yep, there it is. See this white line right there? That's where it ended up placing it. So it actually placed perfect. I guess I'm getting good at guessing those percentages. So what does that mean now if I have this set at 8? What this means is I'm going to either pump up and I'm going to get out of this long. It's going to fall down, and anything below this line here, it is clear to take that trade. So to add that DCA. So if it does add the DCA down here, it's going to move my entry pretty significant, probably somewhere in here. And if you went to the 1 hour, you saw we had some pretty good support. And I'm okay with kind of fighting along from Aave if I have to from down here, because it's pretty low in the range already. So anytime you add anything, so now that we've added that, we do have to delete the alert. So we're going to go Aave long, we're going to delete this alert, and I'm going to simply add it back. So ATA, Gambit, Aave long. It's that simple, guys. So now that we got our plan for Aave, let's take a look at the shorts. Shorts are killing it, up 18 bucks in the 2 days. So although our long got a little bit stuck, our shorts are absolutely crushing it. We have a great plan for our long. I know it'll get out, so I'm not too concerned on that. I'm not going to stop my shorts because although we're not in a trade right now, I could stop it. I believe we have some upside coming, but it's okay because right, we have our DCA protocols in place. So if you're running Aave, I'm just running the default, but only one DCA. So is all I'm doing. If you're following along. If you did not start it yesterday, y'all are welcome to start it today. So Aave, we're in good shape. I'm not gonna touch it. Let's go to ETH. I think we might have got out of our short, guys. Remember we got out of our long before? Oh, look at this. Our long's not in bad shape either. So our long finally got out after it was stuck for some time. It did get a long here. We did DCA, so we're a little bit down, not too much. I think our entry is like 90 something. I'm not gonna set a DCA 2 quite yet. Let me think here. Let's look at the 1 hour. All right, so here's our low. So see, if we DCA too early up here, yes, we're ranging. It likely will get us out. But if we break this range as we're talking about, right, then the fall could come as low as here. If I'm patient with the long and I just let it play out, right, for a little bit, a day or so, before we force it, because we are forcing a DCA on Aave. If we break this range in here, either we're gonna hit here and we're gonna hold support, and I can choose to DCA then, or we're gonna break this. Now the nice thing is if I let it fall all the way to here and we DCA down here, right, that's gonna move my entries just so far down. So I'm gonna sit tight on ETH if you're following. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm just gonna let it roll because we're not really that far from our entry, so it could get out on its own. The purpose of the ATA, guys, is to take the emotion out, and also the purpose is, you just don't want to push things too hard, too fast. So we are still in the short. Look at this, guys. Gosh, and this is not the ATA's fault. It's more mine, right? We called the DCA level to come back up and hit this range, and it did, all through here, but just barely missed where it would do that DCA. If it would have caught that DCA, our entry would be up here, and we'd probably be out. But we did it off the TA. We played it a safe level. So I'm just gonna let that just roll, guys. I don't want to force it. Like I keep telling guys, don't force it. Just let it sit there. It'll work its way out. Either we're gonna pump up, we're gonna get that beautiful DCA, or we're gonna fall down here and we're gonna get out. So there's no reason to force it. So we're just gonna sit tight on ETH. I'm not gonna make no changes. Take a look at LTC. LTC. All right, so our longs on LTC 2 days made $28. Did really well through here. It did take a long here. It did DCA here. So our entry is around 90.7. We're 88.97. I'm not really gonna push that. I don't mind adding a second DCA maybe on LTC, but it's gonna be pretty far down here. Let's put it at like 80. That way, it's near a known bounce, right? So let's say somewhere on 80, because we know support's around 76, so we don't want to go too close to 76. So if you're following along with LTC, let's do that. Let's leave it at 9%. Let's see where that puts the white line. Right about there, so 83. So we need a little bit more. So let's try 12. This white line is where we're following with the DCA right here, if you can see that. So that puts it about 80.7. Let's do 12.25 because I want it to go a little bit closer to that yellow line. 80.5. I'm okay with that. Because, guys, that's only our second DCA, so if it were to DCA there and then it collapses again, we can use our third DCA, and this is just insane support for LTC, so we're in good shape with that. So, and again, guys, we're not even that far from the entry. I'm just being a little more proactive, anticipating some movement. So we're going to just delete the LTC long. We're going to come in here, and we're going to add the alert. ATA, Gambit, LTC, along. There we go. Let's take a look at the shorts. Shorts, 7 days, $63. It's not even in a short right now. It did it. Remember this second DCA we did, guys, on on LTC. It looks like it actually pumped up, triggered that perfectly, and got out. So what a well-placed DCA, right? So we didn't get lucky on the ETH one, but we did get out of the LTC one, which is awesome. So now LTC is back to work. We did get profit. We did take another short. Keep in mind, we do have it set up as 2 DCAs. I don't want that. So all I have to do is, once I know it's out, is uncheck that second DCA. And then I'm going to come over to my LTC short. Oh, see how I did that, guys? This is where everybody gets a little stuck. Remember, we talked about this, I think, last huddle. So what do we need to do? Let's put it back, because remember, we cannot mess up an existing trade. So I wanted to make sure. So we are not in an existing trade right now. See, we took the buy, we are out. So what that means is I can uncheck this, and it's going to eliminate that, which is totally fine. I don't care, right? Because I'm not in a trade. All I need is I have to have that yellow candle to show that I'm not in a trade anymore. So I'm going to put this up to 31. So that will move the yellow candle or the yellow triangle up to today's date. So, oh, I have it at 8:57. Can't do the future. We'll do 54. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. As long as the last thing you see is that yellow, that's all that matters. So obviously when you reset this, it's going to reset our stats, and I'm okay with that, because I track those on a more day-to-day basis here and there. I don't need it to show constantly, right? I'm resetting this on the short. So if you guys didn't run LTC short and you want to reset it, you guys are welcome to. The settings that I'm running on this is LTC, big get, parabolic SARs, default on the take profit, 1 DCA, and then just change your close trade. Make sure you have close trade on chart and set it. It's that fast. So LTC shorts, we're going to go ahead, and you always have to delete the alert, because if it wants to delete it, because we made changes to the indicator, right? So anytime you make changes, you have to delete the alert. And LTC short, but LTC's killing it on the shorts, and we're not too deep in the longs, so nothing too concerned. I'm gonna leave that one running. Let's take a look at Sol. I don't mind scaling back a little bit in the middle of the week, but let's see where Sol is. Maybe there's something we can stop on Sol or prepare. All right, so our Solana, man, you guys remember I've talked about Solana before. It is really good. Like, look at this, $30 in 2 days, right? And it, even in a freaking downtrend like this, right? I mean, it just scalped these longs perfectly. So we are not in a long. Let's see how the short is. I may stop Solana. So we are in a short. I'm gonna spend my last few minutes here showing you guys what I'm gonna do. I am gonna pull out of Solana. I want to give it a day or two, and I might put it back on the weekend, but I always tell you guys, don't be greedy. I mean, we're running on the 5K account, we're running 4 pairs, right? Running both directions. We're a little bit spread thin, right? So you want to take your wins. So we know we already won $31 from Solana long. I'm going to delete this alert. What that means is we are already out of a trade, so we're not in a trade. So any trades that it takes going forward, it won't take it, right? So we're just gonna sit tight on Solana for a little bit. Let's soak in our wins and enjoy it. So what do we do with our short? Because we're obviously in a short, right? So I don't want to close this short. There's no reason for me to just take a loss, especially when it's so close to profit. So I'm gonna show you guys quickly how to modify this to where it just takes the one trade, doesn't do any more. Y'all remember, as I said, anytime you do an existing trade, it will not trade anymore. You want to just place that existing trade stop somewhere between the previous sell and this buy here. So we're just going to simply come down here. I'm not going to touch anything else. All I'm going to do is I'm going to move this date up to 31. And then it looks like if we do around like 6 a.m., it should do it. And then I'm going to flip between the close trade to the existing trade. And that should put that, oh, nope, it actually flipped it over here. So let's put that back. Looks like we need to move it a little bit closer. So let's say 7, let's say 7. So because see, it took away that short that we were in, right? So we want to get this short back. So we just got to move this a little bit closer, and the yellow one a little bit closer. And then as we move that closer, it will adjust. I didn't want to update that. 531. Let's say maybe we need to go a little bit. Oh, it didn't change the 7 on me. That's why. Let's say 730. So, because we just got to get it past this one here for it to allow it to take the. Oh, okay. So we did see it's still taking this cell from this existing one right here, is what that's doing. So let's we might need to put it right where that short was, which is gonna be somewhere in here. So let's call it 821. So, because we don't want it to sell, because obviously we weren't in a sell, right? The best way to do it, guys, normally you can do it anywhere in between, but technically the best way to do it would have been to make this line up on the exact date, right? But at the end of the day, all you're looking at is, are we in a short, and is it going to be in profit, right? So this is pretty close. We missed the minute, but that's all right, because look, it's almost out anyways. Actually, this is a good note here. So you notice here on the sol short, right where it fired the alert down here in this area, it fired it at 8:08. So we know that the signal was hit at 8:08. Let's see how that one would have done, because it might give us that. Yeah, so there we go. Learn something new, right, for both of us. If you mess it up and you forget the date, just look at the log of when that fired. If you scroll this up, this is our log, and you can see Solana fired the new short at 8:08. So that's how you can get that time to make sure it's accurate. So we do have that 8:08 trigger there. So we are in our short. It's almost into profit. So I'm going to delete this Solana short here, and then I'm just going to add the alert here. ATA, Gambit, Sol short. All right, so what I did here, guys, the reason why I did this is once it takes this trade, the moment it gets past this green line, which is like right there, and it closes it, then I'll be out of Solana entirely. It won't take any more trades. I'm going to scale back. I'm going to leave Aave going. I'm going to leave ETH, and I'm going to leave LTC going for today. So this one I'm sure will get out. It still will play the protocol, so it will have a 1 DCA that it will allow. That's based on the settings that I have here. So that's pretty much all I got, guys. We're 2 minutes over, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it. If you're following me, I have Aave long, Aave short, ETH long, ETH short, LTC long, LTC short, and we're doing Solana short, but Solana short is actually existing, which I did forget to add that, so let's add in there existing. I like to add something just to remind me that it's an existing trade. I will leave you guys on one note. I put out a TikTok yesterday. Super excited to announce that if you are struggling with this technology, you don't have time to watch these huddles every day. If you do want to follow along, those who've been following me for like the last 3 months, I've done these huddles every single day. I'm super transparent on showing you what I do, my analysis behind how I'm modifying it. Some people are just killing it. We have John. I know if you're on TikTok here, you were over 8K yesterday for the month, so you guys are crushing it. Keep doing what you're doing. For those of you that are you're struggling, you can't figure out the technology, or you just don't have the time, we are excited to announce that we are going to create a copy trade program that you can tie your account into following what I do here. So all these things that I'm doing, if I set an alert, any alerts that mine trigger, it will automatically trigger to your account. So if you're just like, hey, I want to make some money, but I don't have time to get this, or I'm not good with technology, so I'm having a hard time understanding it, we are going to come up with that copy trade program. We're going to work hard on it through this week. I'm hopeful that we can get it up maybe by this weekend, but I'm anticipating I don't see it taking any longer than next week. So more to come. If you're excited for that copy trade program and you want to start working your way out of trades so that way you can start fresh, you guys can do that. I'm going to be pivoting from my Gambit account to my Goliath account. So I'm already working on scaling all my Goliath trades out, so that way I can get a fresh start for those that want to copy trade what I'm doing. My Gambit account, I'm just going to keep rolling, but the moment that we do release the copy trade program, I will stop my Gambit one. I will start loading my layouts for my Goliath one, and we'll go from there, so guys. So super excited to announce that. But more to come. Just stay tuned. If you guys want to know more about it, come on into the room today, where we're going to be trading in this. We do this Google Meet thing. I have a little more time to trade today, so really excited to get some good trades in. But I appreciate your guys' time. I'm going to stop the community one, and we'll see you guys in the room.